Hi everyone, welcome to Davindy Doodles, where I do random creative things to keep my sanity. Today is actually very exciting. Not only am I back to my drawing game, but I found a great pen. Alright, so this isn't actually a video about how I found my favorite gray pen. This is more or less a video that involves me working on a prompt for Julyfi Sci-Fi's prompt of the day, which was heal. Instead of doing something boring or crazy, I decided to visit one of my favorite video game franchises, Fallout. And no, I'm not referring to that Fallout. This is actually based off of Fallout 3, which is the very first Fallout game I ever played. It's actually one of the first video games I ever played as an adult, and I remember spending numerous hours sucked into Bethesda's little warped, broken world, just wandering around and doing random things. I distinctly remember being up late at night, my husband already in bed trying to sleep, and me just playing this game for hours on end. So what I wanted to do was something a little bit different. The thing that I had most in my mind was that I swore there was a Mr. Gutsy robot somewhere in the Fallout universe that was actually a doctor. And I wasn't sure if I was confusing Fallout 3 for Fallout 4 because I knew there were robots that ran one of the garden centers. I also knew that Curie was in Fallout 4, and while she wasn't a doctor, she was more of a scientist, so I was thinking maybe I was getting a little bit confused. Anthony actually looked it up and told me, yeah, you are confused, there are no robot doctors, but lo and behold, I was stubborn and decided that I was going to Google it myself, and in the Fallout wiki, I actually found the lore of Sawbones from Fallout 3. I don't know if I ever found him myself, but he did inspire me to create what we're looking at today, which is Nurse Joy. In the lore that I found, and please forgive me if it's incorrect or if it just doesn't exist, it's going strictly off a wiki, and we all know that those aren't always reliable, but in that I did find that apparently it's not Nurse Joy at this point. Sawbones was a reprogrammed Mr. Gutsy, and for those who don't know what a Mr. Gutsy is, they are programmed for the sole intent to kill people. They're usually equipped with some sort of flamethrower or plasma rifle, things along those lines that, do a whole lot of damage. So he's been reprogrammed to instead be a medic of sorts for the Brotherhood of Steel. I believe he's located somewhere in Section B or something of the Citadel. And he is sentient, so he knows what he's doing, he knows how to help people, but the only pleasure he gets as a robot that has his own thoughts and own feelings is to cause damage to people. So he will treat you, but he will hurt you in the process, and that's the little bit of joy he gets out of life every day. And from there, I decided to take that little idea, that little nugget of a thought, and breed it into something totally outlandish. Essentially, we get what we're looking at today, which is Nurse Joy. So my thought is, these poor recruits, these poor Brotherhood of Steel people, they're out there fighting Talon Mercs and super mutants, they're getting banged up and beat on, and they're gonna need help, but you kind of start to spread rumors when you have this little theory that the doctor you have to go see may or may not be crazy and gets more pleasure out of hurting you than helping you. So as people, would rather just succumb to their injuries than actually go get treated, the elder or the, higher ups are going to have to start addressing this. And so rather than let Sawbones sit there and continue to function the way he is in that poor robot body of his, they have decided to program him again. They're going to strip back everything he has, they're going to rework him completely, give him a new personality that's more pleasant to deal with, they're going to repaint him to kind of eliminate the whole thought of he was once a killing machine, and yeah, he was once your healer too, but he still wanted to kill you. And they're essentially going to just make it where, he is a whole new person, a whole new identity of this lovely Nurse Joy, because it's hard to forget the fact that that robot you're still looking at, even though it looks like a Pokeball at this point, was also still the one that was at one point trying to kill your insomnia with a hammer rather than treating you properly. So I figured it was a fun little idea, a little bit of lore that just kind of came out of nowhere. I felt really creative and inspired when doing this. And I really didn't want to do a background. I really didn't want to do much with it. I just kind of wanted to play with the idea of a Nurse Joy. And yeah, that's also a Pokemon reference, I admit it. But I really like the way it did come together, and I think the gray marker, in the end, even though I did say this wasn't a video about the gray marker, I do think the gray marker kind of helped not make it look as cartoony and made it more of a scene and fully incorporated Nurse Joy into her medical surroundings in the end. Overall, I'm really happy with how this came out. No matter the frustration, no matter the weirdness with the lore, I really enjoyed doing it, and it was definitely worth the extra time and frustration. I hope you guys think so too, and I would love to know your thoughts down in the comments as far as what you think of the illustration as well as the lore. Was the gray marker actually worth it? I definitely think it was, but we know how I feel about the color gray. So overall, I do also want to know your thoughts on what you would like to see on my channel next. I have an entire sketchbook of ideas for illustrations I could do, but I'm also considering branching into the 3D space of doing sculptures and dioramas. The sculptures could be something as simple and cute as a Pokemon to something a little more complex as more Fallout fan art, or we could even do more like intensive dioramas of full scenes from video games and things like that. So let me know any requests or ideas you have down below. I would love to see what you guys have up your sleeve because I know you're all very creative. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. It means a lot and it's really great to be back. I hope to see you again next week.